Welcome to the Autospeed Podcast, home of stock car and banger racing in the southwest.
Drivers, start your engine.
Love the vans.
Brilliant!
Warm in here, I can see why you don't seem so keen to get off home.
A lot of people would just probably hear 2 or 3 words and switch it off anyway.
Terrific!
First time doing anything like that.
Welcome to the Autospeed Podcast. I'm Crispen Rosevear. Before we progress into this week's episode, a quick apology about episode 9, which was fraught with a succession of technical difficulties. As a consequence, there were segments when the audio was not as clear as usual, but I'm pleased to note there have been no such problems for this latest podcast. With Easter now behind us, the focus is beginning to sharpen on the next 3 events with Autospeed, which start at the United Downs Raceway St Day on Sunday the 30th of April. Don't be confused by the date, this is part of the May Day weekend, which features St Day on the Sunday and Smeethorpe on the Monday. At St Day, the BriSCA F2 Stock Cars and the Back to Basic Bangers will both be back in action at the Cornish circuit for the first time since the 26th of March meeting. In this episode, I'll be speaking with 2 drivers who really had something to smile about at that 26th of March fixture. First up is a BriSCA F2 stock car driver who, I'm sure, would rank high on the popularity chart of most racegoers, simply for his terrific attitude to racing and his happy-go-lucky outlook. Here is 222 Adrian Watts.
So, welcome Adrian.
Hello.
Hello indeed. Let's go back to the beginning before we look at current things. Tell us how you got into the racing.
Well, it started many years ago when I lived at Heathfield, Haytor View. Lived 3 doors down from 784, Ian Illman.
Wow.
Yeah. Very vaguely remember sort of memories of, remember once Ian was they were all pushing the stock car around, trying to bump start it, and it ran over me leg. And Ian was, oh, you're all right. But I never ever watched him race. But Ian gave me an opportunity to go into his garage and help him out in the garage, learning mechanics, changing engines and stuff like that. So he was always up in his garage. I was always up there learning that. And then that was it, really. I sort of lost touch with stock car racing, but I lived 2 doors from the Fishers as well, which is Bill Fisher 215, Newton Abbott, Adrian Fisher 216, and then Graham used to do it 225.
Yes, yeah.
So I used to do that for years. We'd go with them all over Newton Abbott and Smeethorpe Tuesday and Wednesday. So yeah, those brilliant days. But then sort of got married and then lost touch of it, and then until I had a sort of a midlife crisis in 2016. And I thought, well, I want to go back into banger racing again. So I went on YouTube and put in banger racing, but all would come up was I think it was just like destruction of cars, that the Granadas, sorry.
Yeah. And
they were just getting smashed up, and then I just I don't really want to do that. And then I come across the world final in Smeethorpe, and I must have watched that video
the 2013 World Final
20 or 30 times, and I just love it, and I just got hooked on that, and then I just sort of started looking for stock cars then, so that's how I sort of got back into it.
Crikey,
yeah.
What a story that is.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Fantastic you mentioned Ian Illman. I mean, I am old enough to remember Ian racing, and I quite like Ian when he was racing, and he was such a tough guy when he raced. And yet you meet Ian now, and he's such a in the subsequent times that I've met Ian, he's so quiet, so calm.
Yeah.
You think, really, is that crazy man that used to race? And I very much got such a warmth for Ian.
He's still about. He's got like a little mobility scooter. He drives around his place, but he's always working. And he always asks me, "How you getting on with that car bike?" He goes, a lovely chap.
Absolutely.
I've respect for him. Lovely bloke.
Yeah, terrific.
Yeah.
Very much the case. So you mentioned the World Final from 2013. I tried to put aside my own bias, but I mean, what a race that was.
I love that race. I really do. It had everything in that race. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got your Moody's and you're having a go with Speaky. They were both having a go, and Moody wouldn't take it. And of course, they both went out in the end.
Yeah.
And then come the end, it was the third man who won it. He come round come round the bend and took it on the inside and did it, didn't he? Beautiful race. Love that race.
Absolutely. The last, the race had been sensational, and then came the last lap, which, if that had been written in a movie, it'd have been thrown on the floor as being unbelievable.
Yeah, it was.
Too far from realism.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Polly was in the mix at the start of it, but sort of, I think he must have picked up a bit of damage halfway through, and he sort of was tailing a bit at the end. I mean, I thought Neil Hooper had a good chance of winning that.
Yeah.
But he didn't. he was pushing, but he didn't get there, did he?
Yeah, Chris Burgoyne was just perhaps a fraction out of reach for him.
He was, yeah.
But as they went wide, then the door was left open.
Thank you very much.
James Riker, what?
Yeah, it was.
Truly sensational, that was. Absolutely. And of course, we're looking a little bit further ahead now, but World Final at Smeethorpe will be coming around again soon.
Yeah, hopefully. My aim. I wanted to win that World Final at Smeethorpe. Never going to happen. But you got to set yourself some standards, haven't you? Because I looked at that and thinking, I could win that. Then you get into stock car racing and you think, Christ, it's totally different. Your setup of your car, you can't just get in there and set that. You've got to set your car up to yourself. It takes a bit of time getting it used to. I mean, brother, he's with me all the way. He helps me a lot. He's brilliant what he does. Can't thank him enough, really. I better say it, but he'd be moaning if I hadn't mentioned him. But yeah, it is. But my aim, when the World Final is at Smeethorpe, I want to try and get to the semi-finals. Even if I turn up and do the qualifiers and don't make it, hopefully I can get enough points to be in the semi-final mix, wherever that would be. And then you never know, maybe.
Excellent. Well,
and then that would be my final year of racing then, because I've always said once I did that, because it was 2013, so it should be round about now, but obviously with COVID's been put back stuff, so that's my aim, to retire after that.
Okay, well that's really quite interesting, and I always think as well that when I was so much younger, it always felt like there was a pocket of drivers that had that as their seasonal ambition, was to try to get in the World Final, and I'm not so sure that that's quite so the case these days. But if more drivers did have that, that would mean more drivers went to the qualifying rounds, make the qualifying rounds even more special. Yeah, and it's great. You have realistic targets, but I think that to set off at the start of the season and think this year I'm going to try and get at least into the semi-final. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
that would be
that's exactly what I'm going to do. This year with it being at Northern Ireland, the trouble is now with my business, my garden, the phone's
busy boy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's busy. Just before you come, I'm doing quotes for but you got to try and fit everything in, and then I got the wife nagging me to finish off here, at the house, as you've had a tour rate and stuff like that.
Yeah,
work in progress, but you got to try and keep everybody happy. But be fair, she said, "Oh, Adrian, you've got to go racing still."
That's good. That's good to have that support. So, as you say, just for the listeners, we have had a little bit of a tour of Adrian's home and seen a lot of projects which are in progress. They'll be great when they're done, won't they?
Hopefully, yes.
Great stuff.
Will a retirement will come first? I don't know.
You can look ahead. Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So for this season, I don't know if is this part of the corporate image and everything to change the colour of the car?
Yeah. Well, I was always, my ambition was to take the year off.
Yeah.
But I made the mistake and I went and watched the People's Trophy, didn't I? And when I first come back to this, God's gospel truth, drivers, I loved the sound of a stock car. So me and my daughter, we went to Smeethorpe to watch it before I even bought a stock car.
Okay.
And I pulled up outside and they were practicing, and my hair stood on my end with that roar of that stock car going around that track. Oh, I was running to pay to get in. So that's what I love, is that roar, you know what I mean? So the idea was for me to take the year off last year, but obviously I came back, and the image was to get the car in. I needed to do a fair bit of work, get the engine out, sort the engine maintenance out, and I wanted to have it resprayed, and I wanted to relaunch it. But that never happened, did it?
Didn't quite go.
No. So what happened was we didn't start doing the car sort of until January, February, which was took the axle off, put an other axle on, put all new nuts and bolts in it, sort of thing. And I wanted to paint it cream. So the colour, would you believe, is supposed to be grass green.
Okay.
So I rang up the chap. I said, I want a green. what about British Racing Green? He said, well, there's hundreds of British Racing Greens. I said, just send me grass green. Of course, when I've looked at it, and of course, Mike Priddle picked up the thing. It looks like it's the colour of a bloody gas bottle, doesn't it? And it does. But I'm happy with it. You know, it'll be for this year. Maybe next year I'll change it again. Like, yeah, so it's a sort of green to be the same as me gardening.
It was
like,
gonna.
you know?
It was
and
gonna
another
be,
thing, I was always, you know, when I was first starting out, I was always spinning out down in St Day. So I thought I'll have these lot. If I spray it green, once I'm on the grass, nobody will see me, will they?
a little bit of camouflage. Perfect, good stuff. So this year we've just gone past the point of changing onto the new tyres. How's that been for you?
Well, do you know what? Well, when I was at St Day, the last sort of meeting, the car was go out. You know, the white top. I was going for it. I won the hamper, which thank you very much for that, sponsors.
I'll come into that in a moment.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, the car was going. You know, the best of really, I've had the car really going, like, you know. Mm-hmm. And then I did try the tyres pre-season, and I thought, well, it wasn't too bad. But when I got to Good Friday, totally different. Couldn't get the car going around the track one bit.
Okay.
So it was a sort of setting it all back up again, putting the springs up and back a bit. Mm-hmm. So Monday we came.
Yep.
Car was going a lot better, but I didn't get a lot of luck in that racing. So I sort of started off all right, got the car sort of going around the corners better, but then I got caught up with a white top, and of course the car stalled, and I can't get the car going because the starter motor's gone wrong. And in the Grand National, I thought I was going to take off. But hey ho, that's racing. You've got
racing.
You've got to have that bit of luck sometimes. Sometimes you don't, but that's part and parcel of racing.
You touched on the St Day meeting there, the one at the end of March before the tyres changed, and I don't know whether you felt this, but I did in terms of watching you. I don't know that I've ever seen you try as hard as you did that day.
That's what I need. I need that bit of extra, bit of confidence. I mean, touching back, the old 315, Justin Fisher, I mean, he helps me a lot. Mm-hmm. He tells me, you know, do this, change this. He's always happy to set the car up because I bought the car off him, and that was always part of the deal, you know. Mm-hmm. I want you to do well in that car.
Of course.
I've not got that win yet. And I did think about selling the car last year and then buying another one. Mm-hmm. But the car owes me the win, and I know I'm going to win in that car. When will it be? I don't know, but I want to keep that car to win in it.
Okay, that'll be
so
great.
Yeah, and you're right, because before we even went there, brother said you're gonna win that hamper, and he just kept on about that hamper, you're gonna win it, and I just went out and that was in my mindset. I wanted to be best in grade, and the Grand National. There was no way Brian was overtaking me in that race, even though he could have overtook me.
Yeah.
I just kept that on the Grand National just to keep it, like, you know.
Just to keep.
Yeah, just to keep
your
it.
nose in front of the points.
And it was, and I remember what because Derek Palmer, he does a few bits for me car as well.
Yeah.
The old and he said to me, get in the car, switch off. Do your own race. Focus on your own race. And I was thinking about that when I was going around in the Grand National.
And I was saying,
Derek, yes, just keep it, focus on your race. Don't worry about nobody else. Do what you got to do. And be fair, he's probably right. I should do that a lot more, but which I don't. And the sort of thing is I get a bit carried away because you've got to be, when you stock car, you've got to be from green flag to checkered flag. You've got to be focused. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I just get a bit, out of line or stuff like that, and they'll catch you up within seconds. That's the thing. So
it's so competitive that
it is. That's what it should be.
One brief mistake and you lose lose 2-3 seconds.
Yeah,
and before you know it, that's a lap goal.
Exactly. Mate. Yeah.
No, I get that.
But
I do think that day at St Day, I think there was, there wasn't the greatest amount of cars. 1 and 2 had gone ahead, etc. The uncertainty over tyres, but it just felt from the moment you got there, you did have a bit of a focus, and you were ready to grasp.
I must admit, I was focused on doing,
And I appreciate it's going to sound a little bit like patting ourselves on the back, but I do think that we're often trying our best to make sure there's something for everyone to race for.
Yeah.
And we're not expecting you to go out and beat John Palmer and James Ryger. And
it'd be nice.
It would be nice for everyone to beat those guys. But a realistic target that well, today, if you can beat the rest of the guys in your grade, there's a nice little prize. And hence this year we've got the hamper of Cornish goodies.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I do try and set my targets. So I try, like a couple of years ago, I wanted to get to yellow. And I think end of the season, I missed out on just 1 point for being a yellow.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. But and another thing as well is the Ben Fund and stuff like that. I mean, when I won the St John's Shield.
Yeah, the white top shield, yeah.
And I went to the dinner and dance the year before, and they were all handing out stuff and that. And I said to my wife, I said, next year I'm coming back here
with something,
and I'm going to hand me the trophy. And sure enough, I was over the moon when Sharon sent me a letter saying you're invited to come up. So, yeah.
No, I think
and by the way, best wishes to Sharon as well. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. Sharon's going through a bit of a tough time and everything with her health.
She's got this, so she'll be fine.
She's got plenty of people supporting.
Exactly, yeah. Lots of people supporting, as the F2 community has as well.
Absolutely,
we're all behind her. So,
but I think that's a good point you make about the Ben Fund Awards night. In as much as whether you're going there and picking up the big prizes for being silver top, gold top, or whether you're going and picking up prizes because you've won, the St John Ambulance Shield has got like 40 plus years of names on it.
I know, I'm on there too.
You're on there, wonderful history. And to go there and to get that presented in front of all your peers, the people you race with, yeah, it's terrific. And I think that's very much
saying that was when I come back last year, that was another one of my things to re-win it again. But obviously Mike Cox was, he got it, didn't he? So.
Yeah, Mike's just, you say about a win, Mike had a win there over Easter.
Yeah, fair play to him. I mean, that's brilliant. Well done to him, yeah.
Yeah, another popular, I think the two of you epitomise the popular trier in amongst the group
well,
of
you got to, we're there to race, I want to go and win every time. It's not, I don't want to go and take part. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes I get points, Yeah. That's the way it is. But you always want to try and get better for next year, more points and stuff like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, but be fair, I mean, St Days, probably I've made my debut there, and I got points on my first day. I got on there, I don't know. Because the car, I had the old Higman car, it was misfiring and stuff like that. I wanted to go out for a practice. Of course, Mr. Voser was there, wasn't he? Adrian come over and...
He had a few things to check and change.
Yeah, he did. I tried to change the distributor because it was the wrong one. But he said, it ain't going to affect you winning or stuff. He said, go out and race. So he gave me time to change it. And then he comes back and checks it and fine.
Cool. So St Days pretty much popular track for you. You like
Yes,
St Day?
Yeah. But the conundrum is now, the next meeting is yours is a Sunday.
Yeah.
And then Monday is Bristol. But
Yes.
they're doing a white top challenge in Bristol, aren't they?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to weigh that one up.
I have, and the only thing is, I can't say it, but we've invited out somewhere for a surprise party, so on the Sunday, so I don't know. But when the promoter, messages me and say, can you make it? I just don't like letting any people down, so that's the trouble with me. So don't go texting me, will you?
I'm always texting you. I'm always doing that. I'm always texting you, making sure you're coming.
And I think, I don't know, but I think the way you like it is you need those early bookings in so you can get all your promos and stuff like that done.
It's part of this.
Yeah.
It's part of the it's a changing world with the publicity for a race meeting.
Yeah.
So early bookings are always good because every driver that books in has got a story. There's always some narrative behind each person. So yeah, you just want the bookings to come in, and then you can write little things at social media just to keep the interest.
Yeah. And drivers, I love it when you put something like it. It's fantastic. Every driver must love it, and there's always a comment as well. It's great. That's what it should be,
Yeah.
And
if a little social media story, evokes a few comments from people, whether it's someone pulling your leg or whether it's somebody saying well done, just a little bit of encouragement, all helps to make the world go round.
It is. It's like Mal Johnny comes with me racing and stuff like that. I mean, he loves his stock cars. He goes around and takes pictures up. But what I like about it, he'll just walk around and just take a random picture of somebody, and then he'll just put up with Timmy Farrell or something like that. And they're making a conversation about something because he'll just get that moment, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is. It all certainly adds to it.
It does, yeah.
It does. Great stuff. Well, that's an interesting background, interesting outlook on how things are.
Yeah.
And obviously, we wish you well for the next time you do go racing, and see what more prizes you pick up.
Thank you very much.
Great stuff. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So, whilst Adrian continues his quest for a first ever win, I did briefly catch up with a driver who did get a first ever win recently. 873 Beau Carlton-Barnes already has a cracking formal name, but his banger nickname of Biscuit is one that typically raises a smile as well. Another driver who is rarely seen without a cheerful look on his face, Beau scored a race win in the Back to Basic Bangers on the 26th of March at St Day, and he's very much looking forward to his next planned outing on track. Welcome, Beau.
Hello.
Or welcome, Biscuit.
Biscuit.
Come on, we can't go very much further unless you tell me where Biscuit comes from. Where's that nickname
Biscuit.
come from?
Well, my parents just called me Sweet when I was younger, so they just always called me Biscuit.
Is that right?
That's where it's just come from.
It's
always.
simple as that.
Simple as that. I do eat a lot of biscuits as well, though.
Yeah,
I'm a
okay.
biscuit man. Yeah, biscuit has just come from when I was younger.
Very good. Very good. That's cleared that up.
Yeah.
little bit of confusion. I know when we're in race control and I'm always shouting, well, Biscuit, and everyone's looking at me and I go, just read it off the side of the car. It's not that difficult, you know.
Yeah.
So back to basics on the horizon again.
Yeah.
Last time you had a win.
Yes, that was my first win. I was really happy about that.
Uh-huh.
And I've got the drone footage from it. It was awesome, and I'm so happy about it.
Of course, yes. The drone footage is very, very popular.
Mm-hmm. It is it's really done really well, and the top view from it as well. That's awesome, and the following view, so good. It's so good. But yeah, I'm really excited for this next meeting.
Okay.
It's gonna be wicked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty good. I think that the back to basics are normally they're normally it's a bit like the Ron Seal advert. They do what it says on the tin,
Mm-hmm.
and it's there's a reasonable number. Nobody's that bothered about whether you win or lose. Just go and have a bit of fun.
Just going for fun.
Have some good time. I think it's a good spirit amongst the drivers. And then the end of it, those that want to smash the cars, that was a DD. And
I think that's what I'm going to do next one. I'm just going to try and ruin my car next one.
yeah,
Total it. Get a new one after, just to see how it goes.
okay. And your brother's fallen off the radar.
He's lost his keys.
Lost his keys.
He's lost his keys
What, to the race car?
to his race car, so he needs to get a new one.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So he can't be racing. But we might try and find a new ECU for it.
Okay.
Get a key for it. But at this point in time, he can't be racing. He's lost them.
Oh, wow. Okay. And is there much of a hunt going on for them? He's got no.
Mate, we're looking everywhere. We can't find them.
That's a terrible story.
No, it's so annoyed, but he'll find them one day, hopefully. But
By which time the car's passed itself, mate.
yeah.
Blimey.
No.
Well, that's not so good. And what car is it that yours is all nice red and black and all painted up?
It's a Mach 4 Astra.
Okay.
It's doing. I love it. It's really good.
It was fast last time, and you were buzzing around that.
Yeah. No. When I went up on the wall a little bit, I did send my tracking out a little bit. But other than that, we fixed it in the pits, and it was awesome after that.
Ready to go again.
Yeah.
Cool. Great stuff. Well, we look forward to next week.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be so good.
And see if there's some more success. And
Yeah.
as you say, if you're going to have a crash at the end of the day in the
Is there a DD?
Well, there'll be a DD if there's people keen for it. There's always the opportunity.
I'm up for a DD.
Okay, take it steady and
Yeah.
goodbye,
Have a
car.
time.
And then hopefully the next one you don't lose any keys like your brother.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time today.
Thank
mate.
you. That's no problem.
Great one. If you can't be inspired by that infectious enthusiasm of youth, then perhaps you need more than 2 sugar lumps in your tea, or maybe an extra biscuit. Thank you to both of our guests on this week's episode. Just as a little bit of a tease, there is another compelling interview waiting to be aired in next week's episode, which again tallies with the forthcoming May Day weekend. Thanks for joining us.
If you've enjoyed Autospeed Podcast, home of stock car and banger racing in the Southwest, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell for future podcasts.